press the button. Yeah, there you go. Press the
Well,
button.
this is insane. You guys are amazing.
Wow, this is awesome.
I feel like we're doing a panel for a new movie that's coming out, which we don't have coming out.
Yeah.
That's not a hint, by the way. It's not a hint.
It's not. They don't tell us anything.
They don't, because they afraid we'll tell you.
They are, I would
Justifiably
definitely
so.
tell you.
Yeah. Wow.
Guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar, this is Sean Schemmel. He's the voice of Goku in
Yes.
Dragonball Z.
Yes.
He also does Nail and
guy as well.
Yes.
And my co-star here, Christopher Sabat, voice of Vegeta and every other character on the show.
Thank you. That's the benefit of being the first guy at an anime company. Like, you can get all the roles for some reason.
They're trying to save money. He's also very good at it. So are you going to do a thing, or are we just talking now?
You're just going to take control.
Do you want to?
I'm
Let's do
okay
it.
with this.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Sometimes, we chat a little bit and then we take questions or whatever.
I don't
It
mind
doesn't
it.
matter. It's all good.
Yeah, we don't do questions though.
Oh, we don't?
No, not today.
Not anymore.
I don't trust these people.
They're a little freaky, trust me. Especially these two down here. Watch them. Ladies and gentlemen, we're opening up the floor. Take it away, gentlemen.
So I want to thank everybody for having us out. This has been amazing. We were both having flying trouble. He had flying trouble last night. I had flying trouble yesterday, or the day before, but we made it.
Yeah, this is that time of the year when all the flights are jacked up all over the place, because last weekend in Denver, I had the same problem. In fact, I knew going onto the plane that it was probably going to get diverted somewhere else, so I asked the person, as I was boarding the plane, I said, if we were going to Denver and we had to get diverted, where would we go? And they said, Colorado Springs. So I immediately rented a car in Colorado Springs, knowing that we were going to be diverted there. And we did. And I walked off the plane and they're like, are you sure you want to leave? You can't get back on the plane. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. And I hopped in a car, drove an hour to Denver, and was eating dinner, about to go to bed by the time people finally were leaving that airport to come back to Denver. It was great.
Genius.
Yeah.
That's
I'm very
genius.
proactive, guys. I don't wait for things. So.
I'm with you. Well, we travel so much, we get good at the tricks.
That is true. That's true. Man, this is the first panel I've done with you in a while, Sean.
Yeah, we haven't done a panel in a while. You've been busy, I've been busy, at different shows, but we're all traveling all year.
We haven't even done that many shows together lately.
No,
What's going on?
we have to talk to our agent.
We have the same agent.
We have the same agent. You think we'd be at the same shows. But we're here this weekend, thrilled about it. And what have you been working on lately?
Oh, man. All I've been doing is recording One Piece.
That's right, you guys are doing a bajillion episodes.
I'm hoping that at the pace that we're going, I don't know this for sure, but it looks like, we could be caught up to the Japanese before the end of the year, it seems.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, in fact, I think we should just we should go past the Japanese and just start dubbing whatever.
Just keep going.
Just start saying whatever we want.
And then send it to him.
Yes.
And
I
what
could
is
just
this?
prematurely end the episode where someone walks up with a box and they're like, what's this? They go, oh, it's the One Piece. So
Yeah, we found it.
we're like, what's in it? He goes, you should check it out, Luffy. And he opens it up and it's a treasure box. And inside of it is just a button that says reset. And they're like, no, Luffy, don't. And then it starts the whole show over again.
I like that.
So it never ends.
I just got a King Kai snort that's about 3 seconds long. There's another one. That's a good one. I like that. Oh wow,
That's a good snort.
that's like almost a sleep awake laugh snort. It's so long. That's like you're sleeping and laughing and awake at the same time.
You need to go and see a lot of stand-up comedy because guaranteed they will talk to you.
Yes, you should sit on the front row at stand-up comedy shows for sure.
I wish that you were sitting right next to our favorite fan that's in New York every time we're there. Remember that one girl who's there every time, and she's so loud. She's like, yes!
Oh yes, I remember her.
Yes, right here.
Yes.
And she started answering all the questions, and finally we just brought her up on stage with us.
Yeah.
Because she had an answer for everything.
She was very interesting. So you guys should get together. So we take questions.
Are you working on anything, Sean?
I'm working on Lego Monkey Kid right now.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
about to finish season 5.
I used to work on that show.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not sure if you come. I shouldn't say anything if you are. Wait, are you in this?
I'm in season 3.
3 or 4.
I can't remember. Oh man, they didn't tell me. I come in season 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I'm there what appears to be only one season. I don't really know.
And I just finished recording as Dracovish for Pokemon. Luckily, Dracovish ends up being the last Pokemon Ash uses to win the tournament. And it was totally random. Like, I just got cast randomly. And it was just a character that talks like this, and he says Dracovish over and over. Dracovish. That's it.
Yeah, I saw Sarah Nachacheni or whatever her name is. Natacheni? Is that how you say it?
It's not your cheese. No, I'm teasing, guys.
How do you say it for real?
Natacheni.
Natacheni. She's Ash. And I saw her last weekend. She was doing some bit. And she wanted me to look at different Pokemon and guess what their sound was like. And I had no idea. Like,
it's very challenging to figure out.
On a separate note, you mentioned Lego. I saw something the other day where it said that, I forgot what the meme was, but it talked about how Lego people live in houses made of their own flesh.
I didn't see that on Lego Masters.
Because they have the same plastic for their flesh as their house.
Oh, now I get it. I didn't get it. Oh, that's a genius. Yeah, they're made of flesh.
Every object in the world is made of their flesh.
That's as good as your Prime Day joke you just showed me a second ago. The Amazon Prime Day joke.
Oh, well,
where it's about Optimus Prime instead. It's like the true meaning of Prime Day. Let's take some questions, shall we? Hey, where'd our moderator go? What is his name?
No, he's not moderating anymore.
Do you have, TJ, do you have a mic you can walk in the audience and Donahue this? Let's Donahue this.
Question over here. I'm gonna simmer down. Actually, I tell you what, let's make a line over here. Right here. Right here.
Oh, wait, what
line?
No, let's not do a line.
No, let's not do a line. No,
We're going to work you out.
Just Donahue it. What I mean, you're probably too young. That means you randomly walk and then you point the mic at their face.
Yeah, because when you guys do the whole lineup thing, about 8 people get to ask a question, the rest of them just block your view, right?
Welcome back to Phil Donahue.
Yeah, there you go.
Some of these people in here don't know who Phil Donahue
He
is.
was one of the first talk shows to go in the audience with a mic.
Got a question right over here.
Could you let us know any of your involvement in the new Budokai Tenkaichi 4, if you have any?
There's no news as to whether we're involved in Tenkaichi 4, but it'd be really weird if we weren't. So it'd be super, super weird if we weren't doing it. It looks really exciting. When I saw it, like, my heart dropped as well, because I know it's a game we loved working on, and it had just such a huge roster of characters. I'm very excited to see what they do with it.
Yes.
Yes.
Got another question back here?
When are we going to see Ultra Ego in the animation?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Justin, for my Pepsi.
You can probably see it online right now, because I guarantee you someone has animated. I don't know. I don't even know who answered.
I want to see Ultra Ego, and I want to see a giant Eggo waffle come out of Vegeta's hands. Ultra Ego!
I'm going to go ultra kindness. That would be weird for Vegeta. Oh wow, he's really going to get his exercise.
Donahueing.
When is the new season of Super coming out?
God, I wish I knew.
That was the same question as the last one, technically, because the animation of Ultra Ego would be probably when the new Super comes out, if it comes out. They haven't told us anything again because they don't.
But Tenkaichi's been announced, though. That's coming out.
Tenkaichi's been announced. I just don't know what our involvement's going to be just yet.
Sorry, I just broadly winked at the audience. I probably should not.
Wink. We may or may not be working on it.
Question over here.
Yes.
What are your guys' thoughts on Super Saiyan 4?
Well, we did, interestingly enough, I'm noticing that the folks in Japan who are the powers that be are starting to borrow more elements of GT for Dragon Ball Super, for example, Pan in the last movie, etc. And I recorded Super Saiyan 4 recently for a game, so I don't know which game, but I did some Super Saiyan 4 lines, so I think they're starting to use him more. I thought it was an interesting character design. I think everybody knows GT's not Akira Toriyama's work, but it's beloved in Japan, and I think it's beloved here, and I think Akira Toriyama probably likes it as well, is my guess. I like the character a lot. I didn't realize doing that voice was going to be problematic at some point. Right. Well, I didn't know he's going to have that many forms, and I got to keep track of how I slightly change the voice for each form, which I have mixed feelings about these days. But I love the character.
I think it's of all the characters, I think it's the coolest looking form for whatever reason. It's very metal. It goes back to the furry arms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I will say, even though GT was, not beloved by everybody, and I'm not sure how Akira Toriyama feels about it because that's the one show he actually didn't have something to do with.
Yeah.
It is. I will say it. At least in America, the guy named Chris Bevins directed it, and he really he gave that show such a great dub. He worked really hard on it to do it really well, and plus it had some really goofy songs in it and stuff like that. Do you remember the Papara Papara? No, wait, no, that's the Para Para dancers or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
What I would think would be dope is if they bring back, Goku's kind of half monkey, he's got the fur, Would it be cool if mid-battle Goku could just go, all right, I'm a big ape. Just, no blood waves, I'm a big ape, smash you.
Yeah.
I would love him to have a giant ape form mid-battle would be dope. Just like Piccolo did in the movie with the giant Piccolo.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I actually I've always been concerned when they blew up the moon that one time. I'm like, from a planetary standpoint, that was probably a bad idea.
Gravitationally, planetary was a very bad idea. I just told myself a joke though, and I have to tell you. So when Piccolo gets really big on the movie, is he then a flute? Is he flute? Because of Piccolo. So he's looking, and I'm not even a dad, and I told a dad joke. So
bassoon mode.
Contra flute, a contra bass flute.
Yeah.
The ones that loop around and are really long.
I love the way they brought up Piccolo's power in the superheroes movie. And Krillin comes up to it's like, hey, remember that thing you did a long time ago? Oh yeah,
I forgot. Yeah.
Forgot I could do that this entire time.
I wonder if Akira Toriyama is writing himself into the show because he will talk about forgetting elements of what he's created, like launch, and then so he's writing it into the show, like his own forgetfulness.
I mean, it's a long show. They would forget things.
Well, a guy's a genius, so I could see him getting lost with stuff, but...
Question.
Yes, let's do another one down to you.
What did you all think of the Dragon Ball Superheroes?
Oh, yeah. Was that awesome? I love that movie, largely because I didn't have to scream by 3/4.
I think it exceeded everyone's expectations, in my opinion. I think a
I agree.
lot of people, once they saw it was going to be 3D, they immediately went, no, this is going to blow. And I thought it was remarkably good. I actually thought it didn't take away from the style of Dragon Ball in any way. In fact,
agree.
I think it enhanced it in some way.
And you know how I knew it was going to work is because when I first heard the complaints about the original rumors of the 3D, and then they finally released a trailer. What I did when I was watching the video footage before we dubbed the trailer, I was putting myself in there to see because I think a lot of the energy I use for the show comes from the animation versus when we do prelay work like on Monkey Kid or whatever, and so that. Looking at it and thinking, okay, can I act to this, and how is that going to feel? And I was just kind of doing it, and I'm like, this is going to work. Because Goku, for one of the first times, he felt like he had three-dimensional flesh and bones when I was acting him. I'm like, wow, this feels more real to me as an actor. And so that's why I knew it was going to be fine. Because it was working for me, and I've been looking at this character for 25 years.
And I knew it would be fine when I got to the end of the movie and saw what happened, and it was amazing. In your face! I mean, although that last chuckle that Goku gives, it kind of implies that it's hard to tell if he was saying, you got me, or, well, I kind of let you have it.
The script directed me to be nebulous about it, but to also imply, some question as to whether or not I was instructed to laugh in a manner that it might imply Goku was going, I let you win.
Because the Japanese is like, or whatever that thing is.
Masuko knows how it is. I love that laugh. It's so funny. Who's next? Yes. Okay, Donahue.
It's hard to find you because you're literally in convention camouflage.
That's a convention camouflage shirt for sure.
Okay, I have a question from originally like 20 years ago when you guys first took over the mantle of the Dragon Ball Z characters. Were you guys worried that the new dubs would not be received by the fans? And what was your guys' overall approach to the characters starting out?
Well, we were both very new to the industry, and so our ability to predict how fans are going to receive stuff or was very limited. It's much easier for me now, being in business for 25 years on this, to predict like what's going to be fly or not, or what's going to be great. And then what was the other part of the question?
Well, the way I would answer that is to say I absolutely had no concern for that whatsoever because I didn't know that fandom existed. I mean,
That's true, yeah.
At that time, I had when we were working on Dragon Ball, we weren't thinking about like what are the fans going to think about the show. We were just making the show, and to me, like I didn't realize it was going to be this. And we didn't.
It could have easily been a one-off anime that did nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really didn't understand what the importance of that show was until much later. I mean, we knew we were doing something great, but for those of us working on it at the time, we weren't doing this for any sort of gratification from anyone else. We were just doing this for our own, self-gratification. We were just trying to get it done.
I was just excited to be in that realm of show business on television, and my brain was so naive. I was just like, well, yeah, it's going to be a hit. It's on TV, and everything on TV is great and cool. It's going to be, I had no idea that it was almost flukish that it had become the phenomenon that it has become.
Plus, all of you guys were kids then, too.
It's
so
true.
You didn't care.
Many of you were not born.
We could do whatever we want.
That's true.
We're changing the voices. They're like, okay.
Yeah. That's true.
Next
Thank you.
question, right here.
Yeah. So what was your guys' for each of you? What was your favorite episode to work on?
Oh man, that's
Somebody gotta shut off your.
You can't hear it for a bit. It sounds like that one sound they use, the sound effect in every show.
Oh yeah, when it's Armageddon. Dun, dun, dun. The nuclears they're going off.
My favorite, it's hard to kind of narrow down a favorite episode because there's so many great ones in there. But I'd say my favorite area is Majin Vegeta. Anything in that kind of Majin realm.
Yeah, I tend to like that.
Satan always keeps his pride. A nice photo.
You're welcome.
It's a photo of us. We're all together. From the photo ops.
Next question right here.
Hi, my son has a quick question, then I have one.
Do you like anybody else other than yourselves?
That's a deeply spiritual, philosophical question. I can't tell if I should be offended. No, it's all me, kid. All me.
I think I know what you were saying, and don't be embarrassed because that was actually pretty genius. It was really funny.
Dude, you just really got us good. So by accident,
But the answer to that
because if you're that clever, you should do stand-up. But
to that, I would say I don't like anyone else. I don't like any of the other characters because of Vegeta, and he's the only great character in the show. The rest of them are terrible. Sorry. I'm kidding. I didn't understand it. I'm sorry.
I'm always afraid of, I love playing Goku and I love the character, but I'm always afraid that after this is all said and done years from now, just like on how what was that show where they figured out that, in Karate Kid, where they figured out that Ralph Macchio's, they do this whole thing on where Ralph Macchio's actually the bad guy the whole time. So I'm afraid they're gonna no, Goku was a jerk the whole time. He's not the hero. He put Earth in danger just so he could power up more, so he could get his jollies fighting Cell or whatever, And so I feel like there's gonna be a whole narrative that Vegeta was the hero the entire time.
He's the hero you all deserved.
Goku's not there for the kids. Piccolo is the world's greatest babysitter.
In the fandom, there's a lot of talk about who's the better father, Vegeta or Goku, and you could argue that all day. But what's funny is the people who don't want to believe that Vegeta's a better father than Goku get really upset. They get way more upset than the other way around. People who they'll argue on if I'll make even some joke about I guess Vegeta's a better daddy, at least took his kid to the park or something like that, right? There'll be somebody underneath it going that's unfair because Goku with this kid. You never see it the other way around.
Yeah, but in Dragon Ball Super, Vegeta does a family thing at that restaurant with all the food. Goku makes no attempt to take the family out for a family. He doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything. He's even scared to go inside when he
forgets to say hello to his own son most of the time.
Most of the time. So I guess to answer that kid's question, is Goku caring about anybody else other than Goku?
Probably not.
Next question.
Bro,
Give us a quick Kamehameha. Do it, come on.
That was the best way to ask it.
He beat me to my joke. Well, yeah, he beat me to my joke because he had some glasses. He was taking a photo with his lenses, which makes me like I wanted to make a spy joke because he's spying on us. Kamehameha! It's a short one. Because I have to work next week. I'll talk to you guys all day. Thank you, though, for putting me on the spot. I love it.
Wow, yeah.
No, it's all right.
Come on, do it. Let's do it.
Yo, do it right now. Let's throw it down. 20 push-ups right now.
Bro, do it now. Question over here.
So same question for both, but slightly different. Chris, Ultra Ego Vegeta versus Orange Piccolo. Who you got? And then Sean, Ultra Instinct Goku versus if we could have an orange nail.
Orange nail.
Oh, man.
Well, Orange Nail, there is Orange Nail because he's inside Piccolo, right? Or no, he's in Kami. Did Kami absorb Nail?
Yeah, technically.
Or did Piccolo absorb? No, Piccolo absorbed Nail.
Yeah, Piccolo's got Nail inside.
So he's an Orange Nail inside Piccolo somewhere. It's his like little pinky toe. The nail's just.
I had this like weird fantasy in my mind about there was a video I wanted to create. And I never did it. I tried to throw it into the universe sometimes and hope that somebody might animate it someday, but it was, it's like Piccolo in Super around this time, it's long before the movie. He's like rocking Pan or whatever, just doing nothing and like babysitting or whatever. And then suddenly he like starts to convulse. And then Kami and Nail pop out of his body and like, what have you done? You've wasted our potential. We've used with you and now you're a babysitter.
Come on, you're just babysitting, please.
And then they go, we're out of here. And then Nail and Kami fuse and then like jump out the window.
And Piccolo's all shriveled up and tiny then.
And then they fly off and Yamcha's like, hey guys, how you doing? And then they blast Yamcha and Yamcha dies. And then it reverses, and then it's Yamcha going, hey guys, and then he dies, and then he goes, hey guys, and he dies, and then they like cut up to Whis, who keeps doing a temporal do-over thing, so he can just watch Yamcha die again and again.
Chris, you think way more about fantasy Dragon Ball than I do.
I do.
By far. I mean, you did direct the show, so I could see your head being in that space.
See,
but I didn't realize what you could think about when you're laying in bed at night. That's pretty impressive.
It's important.
Next question over here.
Yes, Donahue. I didn't really answer the guy's question, really. Sorry. Was there a question or you wanted to do an impersonation? Hang on, we'll get to the next guy. Just hold the next guy, but I feel like I screwed this guy over here. What?
The question was if it was Orange Nail versus Ultra Instinct Goku, and then for Chris it was Orange Piccolo versus
Who would win?
Vegeta. Who would win?
Oh, Ultra Instinct Goku, obviously, but I can't imagine Orange Nail would be worth anything. Right?
Yeah. It's hard to tell because Ultra Ego hasn't been animated yet, so it technically doesn't, in my mind, doesn't exist. So Piccolo would win at this moment.
I want a T-shirt that says Orange Nail, and then it's got a parenthetical like balloon, and he's like, "One can only dream," or something like that. Like he wants to be Orange Nail someday. I hope that answers your question. Next question.
Right over here.
Okay, I got a question. For Z and Super, what was your favorite episode to do?
That's so hard to answer because we have Z, then we have Z Kai, and I also recorded most of that 10 to 20 years ago, Super 5 or 6 years ago. I love the comedy. I love one of my favorite scenes. There's a couple of my favorite scenes in Super. Of course, they're revolved around my character, but Vegeta's doing what when he crashes through the door, wall, Kool-Aid style. And then I forgot my tractor, which is just an outtake we left in there when Goku's fighting Hercule or Mr. Satan. And then of course there's some epic moments. From the epic moments, there was a scene that later in the show where it's Goku and Vegeta, and I actually had a little bit of hand in kind of asking how we could record it. It was when Goku and Vegeta are powering up, and the way the cuts were, we were too synchronized on the so I want to go, what if I'm going and then it cuts to you, and then it's panning back and forth, and we're going back and forth, and all the power builds up. It's just very, very exciting. It's very exciting. Because we don't get to have the feeling of being on stage as actors or being in a film acting with each other. And so to see, to be with, my colleagues in post, for me is always really exciting. I mean, I'm often listening to the other characters more than myself because and that's what was so thrilling about Superhero is to sit kind of on the sidelines. You only have about 15 minutes of screen time and watch everybody else have to carry the story and do everything was really fun for me to just sit in the theater like that. I just enjoyed it so much.
Yeah, my favorite, honestly, is I love the movies.
Yeah, the movies.
The movies starting from Battle of Gods onward were really memorable because for the longest time, from 1998 onward, we were telling the same story again and again and again. Like we did the original for air on television, then we did the orange box kind of version, then we did the redos for redoing the orange box to fix some of the earlier stuff, and then we did Kai, and then we did all those video games that basically just retold the story, and then finally there was a new story.
Yeah.
And Battle of Gods was probably one of the best moments because it was just the first new thing. And on top of that, Japan was really interested. They were really involved, and we got to go to a premiere where, for the first time, really.
Yeah, we did not work directly with the Japanese until they started showing up for the movies and coming over here and working with us more directly with Toei and everyone. And they were great.
That was the first time I actually felt validated as a Dragon Ball actor. Because for the longest time, and this kind of goes back to what you were saying about were you worried about the fandom, I always had this weird kind of imposter syndrome because I always put the Japanese voice actor way up here. And then I thought, there was a long time where I would just go, we're just putting an American stamp on a Japanese product, we're just the English language option of a DVD. But when we met the Japanese producers, they came and they said to our face, it's like, you are the American voices of Goku.
Yeah, they were very supportive.
And that felt really good. We got acknowledged from the creators of the show.
Yeah, it was nice. And it was funny because I had the exact opposite attitude because I was so naive. I was like, we're not less than because we're the dub cast. What is this? That means the original cast of Romeo and Juliet from Shakespeare's time is the best Romeo and Juliet cast ever, and we'll never ever hear it. I have tremendous respect for any cast, particularly the Japanese cast, that's the OG cast, who works on the show, because you work on Dragon Ball, it's a beating, quite literally. But I had this idea that I've got to speak to American audiences with these emotions, et cetera, and I naively thought, I'm the new voice of Homer Simpson. It's metaphorically. And I was foolish about that in that regard. But and part of that's the culture around dubbing because it's been that way in America. If you watch this movie called Being George Clooney, you'll find that that's kind of that way in America. But in Italy, they like their dub actors so much that when Robert De Niro wanted to dub his own Italian lines, they had him replaced with the guy who'd been doing his lines up until that point because he was their Robert De Niro. In other words, he speaks Italian, De Niro does. And so he did his lines. And then they played it, and they go, who's this guy? And they go, that's actually Robert De Niro. He goes, no, we want our Robert De Niro, which was the dub actor who'd been doing it for 30 years. Wow. And so they re-recorded it because they have tremendous respect for the dub actors out there. And I wish we had that more here in the United States, although this room clearly respects us. Thank you so much. And it's a difficult craft. It's hard to do. Bingo! Bingo! You're doing the dance. Where'd Donahue go? There he is over there.
Hey, as Tennessean, I'm really happy you guys came to Knoxville. I drove to Chicago to meet you guys last year, so number one, thank you for coming to Tennessee. I wanted to ask you guys, what projects are you guys proud of that aren't necessarily Dragon Ball Z, each of you, a favorite project that you guys are really proud of?
A bigger project that we're proud of?
Favorite project?
Any project that you're proud of that's maybe not necessarily as known like Dragon Ball Z or One Piece or My Hero Academia, things like that.
I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I'm very proud to be on Lego Monkey Kid because I'm playing the Monkey King and Goku's based on that. And they didn't just give me the part, they cast me, they auditioned me because I had been playing the Monkey King for 20 years at that point through Goku. And I have a lot of monkey themology in my life. Being born the Year of the Monkey is my nickname when I was a kid. There's all this stuff. And I've always wanted to do a storyline where Goku retires and he hides somewhere and then new heroes seek him out to train him, kind of like Master Roshi. Well, the fundamental storyline of Monkey Kid is that there's a new Monkey King and Monkey King is training Monkey Kid. And now they go on adventures. And I also using my natural speaking voice and just kind of playing him as me retired. So I've always wanted a role where I'm the original voice, I'm creating the voice myself, I'm playing a three-lay show that's an American cartoon that has this story, and I got it. And I had to audition twice, they almost didn't pick me, so it's not like they just throw you stuff, you have to audition for almost everything. So that would be one. What about you, Chris?
Oh man, there's so much great anime happening right now. My Hero Academia is on fire, and One Piece is all we needed was a global pandemic to give people long enough to watch that show. Before the pandemic, I'd like bring 5 prints for Zorro because maybe someone would want one of them. And now it's like the majority of
Oh, I'm so pissed off about it. I am. Because I'm only partly in One Piece. And I love how the One Piece is like, oh, One Piece is like, no. Here's the deal, guys. This is me pulling a Joe Namath. You ain't gonna beat Dragon Ball. You're just not. Like, you're gonna beat a total number of episodes, but the Dragon Ball fans, I think they're kind of like, I wouldn't say Grateful Dead fans, but they're kind of like the rock band fans that are like, we liked it before they were big, and now that they're big, we still like it. But then when it's kind of losing its shine, that core base of fans will always be there forever because you guys are rabid. And I think Dragon Ball will always be One Piece. But that's, I'm also biased, and you're on both shows equally.
I'm not comparing.
I am, because I'm jealous.
I am on another show. I don't know how many of you watched a show called Ranking of Kings. Have anyone watched that show? Not that many, apparently. But the people who did are very excited about it. It's a really cool shonen style anime, but it's about a little kid who's a mute. He can't speak, and he ends up having these powers. And I came in to play this guy called...
Wait, how do you dub that if he doesn't speak?
I don't play that.
Oh, okay. It's like, I'm trying to figure that out.
No, I came in to voice a guy named Despot, who I thought was just going to be a character where he just shows up, guy trains him, and he ends up being an important part of the story. That's the thing I love about the fact that we're starting to do some of these anime in a broadcast style, where we're just recording it week after week right after it's released in Japan. Because a lot of times you don't know whether your character is going to be in the show, or you don't know if your character is going to be a main character or not.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get cast on something and then...
I thought I was going to be one of the main characters in Berserk, and I wasn't, even though he was Guts' best friend, and I had like 5 lines, and then I died.
Oops.
Next question,
Where Donnie, you go. Yes.
I just wanted to take the time to thank both of you for making my and all of our childhoods so much more awesome and
You're
bearable
welcome.
to deal with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My question for the both of you is if either of you have any hobbies or things that you enjoy doing outside of voice acting.
Chris has about 50 synthesizers.
I do. I love music. I like to make music. I love analog synthesizers. I like making things look cool. I like working on my house.
Don't you have a giant ancient camera collection?
I do. That's up at the studio. I'd like to collect things that aren't entirely overly valuable. But in mass quantities of them, because I think things look really great when there's a bunch of them, right? Like,
so you like when the dancers are all dancing together too, like on a dance show?
Yeah, they can be all broken dancers or
line
whatever,
dancers,
as long as there's a lot of them. But there's no, I like tons of old cameras, but none of them are like really expensive. Heck, they might be now. I have no idea. I would get them like at thrift stores. I love I've always wanted to build one of those walls of speakers. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where it's just a bunch of old classic speakers all stacked on top of one another. It's just, I'm not allowed to do it right now. So, but soon I will. Someday.
And I have similar hobbies. I was a professional French hornist before I became a voice actor, and so I still have a French horn I play. I have about 6 or 7 electric guitars. I play badly, and I got into synthesizers recently because Chris was, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get into synthesizers too. I wasn't really copying them. I just got a synthesizer bug, and I started buying them and sending Chris's videos going, wow. Except I would just say wow. I wouldn't play them. I go, check this one out, wow, wow.
He's not kidding, actually.
I sent a video, check it out, I got a Prophet 6. Wow.
And instead of actually playing the synth so I could hear it, he just goes, wow.
Yeah, I just say it. And then I just sit on my couch and just play, I just put headphones on and watch TV and just kind of get into a state.
Electro-meditative state.
Yes, electro-meditative state. I play a lot of video games. I'm a driving enthusiast. I love to go canyon carving. I go to car meets and stuff, and I like to drive. And I spend time with my dog and my girlfriend. You know, we play video games together, and you know, we don't have kids, and you know, we're good.
Yeah, I play a lot of video games too. People ask like, what are your favorite anime to watch? And I go, I don't watch anime because I want to play video games when I get home. I make anime.
What are you playing?
all day.
What are you playing nowadays?
Right now, I've actually been I've been introducing my kids again because now they're at the right age to appreciate it. It's a Katamari Damacy.
Yes.
Love Katamari Damacy.
Do you think that Nova would say, Dad, I made a giant sticky ball and I cleaned up the house, and she's pushing a ball around, sticking everything together, trying to make her own Damacy ball.
Oh yeah, actually.
Would she do that?
What she would do is the opposite of that. My youngest would actually just get everything in one area and then spread it all over the house. She's as lazy as I am, so. Sorry, Donahue's way back there.
Yes, Donahue's in the nosebleeds.
Back in the nosebleeds.
Hey, so one of the biggest debates that I see a lot is the characterization of Goku in Super. A lot of people feel that he's more stupid in Super. Some people feel that they were just bringing him back more into how he was in Dragon Ball, and a lot of people will bring up...
Would you tell me the beginning of that question again? I missed the first comment.
Of course, I probably talked too fast. So a lot of people talk about how Goku's characterization has changed in Super in regards to how it was in Z. Some people say that in Super he's just much more stupid, but some people also say they were just bringing him back to how he was in the original Dragon Ball. But a lot of people will reference the infamous "I don't know what a kiss is" scene in Dragon Ball Super.
Like a what scene?
I don't know what a kiss is.
Oh, a kiss scene. Yeah.
I don't know what kissing is when she tries to kiss Mai. I'm sorry. What is your opinion on that scene, and what is your opinion on Goku's characterization in Super?
I mean, I don't talk to the Japanese team in development, and I get a Japanese script that has been translated and then an adaptation. Because I was kind of bothered by original Z being so Americanized, and I really am a purist, I asked my producer, Justin, if we could have Japanese scripts in the booth so that I could just It's really important to me that Goku's character is presented as what Akira Toriyama intended, not a Superman, Jesus-like hero. He likes fighting the strongest no matter what. He's kind of dippy, but he's like Quagmire, but instead of ladies, it's fighting. It's like, fighting strong guys, giggity! Like, he's giggity immediately. And that wasn't always clear in Z, so when Kai, I asked if I could do that, and then I asked for it Super, and I asked for video games. I said, I always want that purest translation in case, because I'm really particular about language. And our adapters are great, but sometimes they'll lean Goku toward Vegeta a little bit. I'm like, no, we already got a Vegeta character. It's Vegeta. And if there's two Vegetas on a show, you got a problem. And so I'm always going to defer to them. So as far as the characterization for Super, I think all those elements of Goku were always true. And I think there was a change at Toei where they decided to they realized this was becoming a global phenomenon. And I noticed several things about Super that were kind of more globally appealing, meaning the pacing of the show was more like an American cartoon. It's faster paced. There was more storyline and more comedic elements, but they kept a lot of the epic. They lean into more Goku's sillier parts, but they do keep a lot of that epic stuff, like he wasn't, silly stuff like he wasn't in original Dragon Ball. Because I think they're trying, my guess is, I'm totally guessing, but they were trying to make this more broadly appealing and saleable in multiple different countries because they want to turn it into a global brand, which they're succeeding in doing so. And so people complain about it. Everybody wants Goku to be epic and badass, and I think that's really great. But then again, he's more like Vegeta, and Goku is an epic badass. But my favorite thing about Goku, first of all, my favorite form is base form. When he's black-haired, I'm happy. Because I know he's going to be silly, and I know he's going to be... Because I connect to the character during that pure, childlike state, which is, he's got to stay in that pure state. He can't have these accoutrements of attachments of life, of marriage, kissing, kids. He's a kid at heart, right? And so he doesn't understand those things, which I think is humorous. And I don't think that they're betraying the character at all. And remember, Akira Toriyama does have control over that, and he sends his wishes out to the Dragon Room, which has a group of his right-hand people who implement all this. So this is not under his auspices in terms of how the direction's going. But in terms of playing the character, to me it just felt like they just took elements that you have here and there on Z, and they just focused more and leaned into different aspects of Goku as a character that were here and there in Z versus the standoffish, we're gonna fight, 2 weeks of telling each other who's stronger. And I'm, and from what I can tell, I don't read ahead in the manga too much. I try to stay kind of stupid, so it's fresher when I go into the booth. And what I know about the manga, Goku's still doing epic stuff, and he's still a badass, and he's still fighting Granola and Moro, and apparently he goes through the ringer, and apparently there's a Black Frieza now. So you got Goku Black and Frieza Black, or I don't think they call it Black Frieza or Frieza Black. I don't know what they're calling it, but so I can see why the original fans are really married to that, but I love Dragon Ball Super. I think it's got something for everybody. You got your epic, you got your funny, you got your good story, you got a longitudinal story, you've got better animation, you got better effects, you have new powers. And I don't even know if they'll incorporate Orange Piccolo into later manga on Super for when we do the series, hopefully. Orange Piccolo show up.
Who knows? I mean, I've had a theory that perhaps the movies might take. I mean, the series could take theoretically a completely different direction. They could do another movie where they could just, because they've been developing this whole thing with Broly in the movies that isn't quite showing up in the manga.
Yeah, that's really surprising to me. I was surprised that they set this ending up for Broly where they're giving each other the eye. Giggity, you want to fight? Giggity. Me and you fight. And then they don't follow it up right away in the manga. And from what the fans of the manga are telling me, it is not necessarily showing up like you would think, like a big Broly arc where Goku's training him or something,
And as to your question about Akira Toriyama, I've always had a belief that if he was allowed to do whatever he wanted to do, he probably would make the whole show kind of comic rather than fighting. I have this feeling they have to go in and remind him every now and then to go like, hey, Akira Toriyama, can we do a little bit of fighting stuff?
Well, because he did Dr. Slump. He does all that. He's really good with the comedy.
I think he was always meant for it to be like. I think that's his spirit. You could tell that he has a cheerful spirit, and whenever he really has a lot of involvement in something, it tends to not have this like crazy intensity that some of you really like.
I mean, I liked it. I mean, I do like it. Although people were more bent out of shape about the power scaling for Khalifa and Kale at some point. They were bent out of shape about that. I was doing a whole Beavis and Butthead riff on that. like, hey, dude, it totally sucks. Khalifa and Kale like scaled. Because they got really strong for a second, then they got real big, And then Beavis goes on a whole tear where he's like, and then they just went past him without training whatsoever. Dude, just watch the show, because there's like chicks in it now. Like, I'll just riff as Beavis and Butthead talking about Dragon Ball Super, or Dragon Ball Z forever. Yeah, King Kai's back.
All right, everybody with their hands up, you're gonna hate me, but we have time for one last question.
Sorry, guys. But you can ask these questions at our table if you come by.
Yes, you can.
If you got a question, come to our table.
Yes, you can. All right, last question right here.
Hi.
Hi, me. Man, I look good.
Hey, Vegeta. Vegeta's my favorite character, so
Good.
I had to. But anyway, I had a question. How do you feel about Vegeta's character development from the beginning of Dragon Ball Z to Dragon Ball Super?
Are you asking Chris or me? Chris.
Yeah, me.
Well, because I think I'd be a better person to comment, but I'll tell you in a second. You go first.
You can add to it.
Well, I just say I'm an outside observer. That's all.
I did not expect this going through, and I don't. And talking to Ryo Horikawa, the guy who plays Vegeta in Japan, neither of us predicted where he would be now, like where Vegeta would be at this point in the story, and whether it was Akira Toriyama's design or whether it just happened. I believe that Vegeta has the best evolution of personal growth in the whole series. Like, I think he is the best character for that reason. He reminds people that there is a redemption for them. He reminds people that like you can work really hard and you're probably still gonna lose to some clown, but you still can make something of yourself. And Vegeta was so bad at the beginning he's so beloved now that people have completely forgotten him. What a jerk
he was. Heartless.
He was the worst. But we all just forget about that because he's married to Bulma now.
Well, you kind of said what I was going to say. I've never told you this, but one of my favorite things in storytelling at all is a character like that, where you've got this character who's not only a total heartless jerk, not only does he slowly change, but then he befriends the hero, and then we find out later that Vegeta actually might be a better hero at the end. It might be, I think, by Goku. And then they kind of need each other, like Batman and the Joker. You know, it's like they fight, they're bicker, but Goku's pushing Vegeta. Vegeta's got his jealousy, and he wants to own up him. It's the perfect rivalry. It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone or something. I don't know.
People have asked me in the past, they're like, well, do you think Vegeta will ever defeat Goku? I'm like, yeah, and if he did, it would be the end of the show, because Vegeta would be profoundly lonely. Like, he'd probably wish him back with the Dragon Balls and then try and kill him again.
Well, and if we're going to follow Goku's logic, he'll do the same thing he did with Cell. He wouldn't even have to fight him. He'd just look at him and go, yeah, you can beat me now. Okay. Because when you went to Cell, he was like, oh yeah, I can't beat you yet, but I know somebody who can, and then he's hiding Gohan. He just shows up, assesses Cell's like, no, I can't beat you yet.
Yeah, beat up my son instead.
Yeah, beat up my son. He's just
really
wearing him.
He's just
wearing him down with the sun. He goes, put the sun as fodder so he can weaken him. But yeah, I love that about Vegeta. I love that storyline where the bad guy becomes friends with the good guy, and then we do the fist bump at the end, and it's freaking awesome. I love that so much.
Thank you all. You have been, this has been one of my favorite Dragon Ball panels.
You guys are amazing. This is wonderful.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise.
Thank you so much.
Sean Schemmel.
Thank you guys.